So it's all bent. Looks pretty good on this side. It's pretty close. I'm happy with the B pillar. The only issue is that side over there, the leg is out, maybe 1.5 degrees, I think it was. And instead of ratchet strapping the bottom and kind of pulling them together, I'm gonna put this back in the bender and just put a hair more on it over there and hopefully pull it in. You can see it slightly tilts out as it goes to the bottom, which that one will be close enough I can tweak that. But if you look at this guy, yeah, you can see it more there, where it's the bottom's out, the top's in. But yeah, everything else turned out great. So I'll throw it in the bender and get ready to go. Alright, so to save you watching me set this thing up where I have to tiptoe around this and do that because I'm very limited for space, especially with this bender, it's back in. I have all my marks where all the bends started, so I can line everything back up if I have to tweak anything. And the next thing to do is just double check pretty much every plane you're going to be messing with if you're going to bend the main hoop, and make sure everything's level. And what this is this is just like a slider. So when we initially first started bending the cage, my friend came up from Connecticut to help me. And what we did is when you start the first bend, obviously the tube is running straight back out this way. And when you get one bend in it, fine, but when you start putting 2 and 3 bends in it, this thing over here just lets when you get it level, every time you gotta move it or do anything, set it up, level it, and when you bend, it sweeps across this bend, and it basically won't let the tube sag down, so when you bend, it tweaks the bend. Because once you have a few feet out here, and you have it bent on any angle, and the weight of the tube starts trying to pull down, when you're bending this, it will basically pull and roll that tube down. Not a drastic amount, but enough to possibly screw something up. So I remember my bends before. I was doing 17 degrees plus 3 spring back, and then so I think I'm just going to take this to 20, so it'll give me an extra degree, and hopefully that's it. You hear all that noise outside? It's big ice chunks falling off the roof. We're having pretty shitty weather up here for the last couple days. That looks a million times better. The only thing I gotta do now is I notice it's tilted a hair. And that has nothing to do with the bends, that's the feet, or the bottom of the cage on both sides, the bottom of the hoop on both sides. I just trimmed one rough cut to get it off because it had about 6 inches of material left on it. So now the next thing is setting this thing up and trimming both these feet level. We'll measure from the top of the hoop to each foot, cut that off. It's gonna need to drop down like another, once it levels out, maybe drop it down another ½ inch. And that should be pretty good. I think my overall dimensions ended up going out each way just a hair more. I think the cage was originally set to be 52 inches, and I keep saying cage, the main hoop was meant to be 52 inches outside to outside. I think it ended up at around 52 1/4. So, oh well, everything should still work. Everything will still fit just fine. So yeah, it's 3/10 of a degree out. So, and the left side's got to drop. So, yeah. This is a sweet little angle finder. I think Johnson makes it. And it's got a magnet on it. I have my Minitruck. I love my Minitruck, but it doesn't have a magnet on it, and it's kind of big. I think this thing was 25 or 30 bucks. So if you're in the store and you see one, pick one up because they're super handy. Little information on my bender. It's a JD Squared Model 3. Unfortunately, JD Squared has discontinued the Model 3 for the Model 32, but the Model 32 is just basically able to handle thicker tube than this can, which I guess that was an issue with the off-road guys bending up quarter wall and stuff like that, which I don't think I'll ever have a reason to bend anything that heavy duty. So this thing will be pretty good. I got a good set of dies. I think I got 6 or 7 different dies for it. It's hydraulic. I played around with the manual arm with it bolted to the floor. And that was fun about one time. And then I got the hydraulic conversion for it. That was probably 10 or 15 years ago, I think. So yeah, it's been an awesome bender. I just built my own stand for it, put it on wheels so that it can be moved around, put it in the corner, get it out of the way. I mean, the bolt in the floor is great. You can unbolt it and move it out of the way, but then you got studs or drop-ins in the floor and everything like that. So, but yeah, that's a little information on this bender. And the guys at JD Squared have always been really helpful. I had to troubleshoot an issue with this thing, and they helped me out. Sent me a new degree wheel for this because the old one I had, I was doing something and had a rag with chemicals on it, and I wiped this to clean the dust off it, and it wiped all the markings off it. So I was just kind of using like a protractor and making marks and doing it that way. And then when I talked to him about this, I asked him about this, and they told me they'd send me one out. So yeah, if you're looking for anything, I do also have, I haven't brought it down here yet, it's still in the house because it weighs like 50, 60 pounds, is their beast notcher. So that thing's pretty stout, and you can pretty much do almost any angle you want on it. It'll hold tubes in the middle of a radius, offset, everything like that. So when I eventually get that thing down here, I'll shoot a little video on that too. Also, I don't know if I showed these, but these are those arms I built a while back. I had them coated at Capital Region Customs here just outside of Albany and Amsterdam. So if you're up this way in the They call it upstate, but I call it mid-state New York because technically we're not by the Canadian border, which they think they're upstate, which, you know, they are. But yeah, Capital Region Customs, he did a good job. Nice job on this, and I had if you can see the bar I had made back here that I made, he coated that too. So thanks, Mike at Capital Region Customs. So it's in, it fits good. I still gotta cut those. Cab mounts off out there and make the outriggers off the frame that the hoop will sit on. But everything looks good. If you're interested in well, I think I called out the dimensions when I originally made this, but if you check in the last video, if not, I'll flash a screenshot up of the measurements and the bend degrees to get this. Just one thing to remember when you're bending this, which we learned, is after you make the first bend, double check the bend and make sure, because you want to make sure your spring back and everything is set right. I don't know what happened to the... Oh, we set it over here. Yeah, this was the first. We ended up bending the first two bends, and I don't know if you can see it from here, but it's overbent by like 4 degrees. So yeah, once you've overbent it, it's pretty much unusable. Which I can cut that bend out of there and cut that off there. I'll still have 6-8 feet of that tube left, so I wasted like 1.5 feet, 2 feet. So it's not horrible, but yeah. It's better to underbend than overbend. If you underbend, you can always put it back in, put a little more in it, bend it a little more, as long as you mark your tubes, which of course this thing's around backwards, but you always want to mark, well, when you mark where your bend's going to start, so when you put it back in the machine, if you need to rebend it, you can line all those marks up, put a little bit of tension on it, tap it around with a mallet, get it perfect, and then bend it and bend it to what you need it to. And if it's out by like 1 degree, then just bend by 1 degree every time, and it's better to take it out and check it 2 times than to overbend it and then basically take the piece and throw it in the garbage, especially if it's a whole hoop like this. So get those cab mounts cut off, then I can start working on the A-pillar bars. Tie those in because the outriggers for those are already out there. That is ready to go. It's waiting on me. Like everything else in this truck is waiting on me. Then we can do dash bar, tie in the front frame horns, punch the holes for this subframe, and then hopefully get the damn suspension on the front of this thing so it's actually sitting on the ground. Then it's all downhill from there, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? That's good in the shop. Wind's getting kind of rowdy out here. Oh yeah.